I'm going to pretend here that I'm all done with my page. I like how everything's working and I'm ready to put it online. Okay, so one of the important things to do is to go through your images and make sure that you're using all of the images that you want to use. So maybe you had some images planned but you didn't actually use them. So it's a good idea to have like an unused image folder and just drag those out and into somewhere where they would be archived but not taking up extra space. So clean all those out. Make sure that you don't have any PSD files in the images that are left. PDFs are okay, if that's the form I have. I didn't actually use all the logos, but usually logos are small and that's something that I would leave in there. So we're doing pretty good there. And I have the video. I didn't use all the videos, so I mean technically I would put one of those out as well. I don't remember which one I used. Okay, and then you go back to your page and refresh and make sure everything still works. So check all the places. Anyway, make sure it all works even after you clean things up. So then you would take your unused video file or folder and pull it out of that main folder. Okay, and ideally somewhere safe where you know where it's going to be. And you do the same for the work images. You don't want these are the PSDs, the Illustrator files. Take that out as well. So the original template, that's kind of what our folder is here, it had an index.html file. Here's the page that we've been working on. So kind of what we want to do here, at this point we don't need this old index file, so let's pull that out as well. I should probably have like a trash pile here so that stuff is not confusing on my desktop, but still linked to my website. So I'm going to take my finished web page and I'm going to duplicate the file and I'm going to rename this index. Okay. Sometimes it helps to put a date. I mean, ideally there's a date on the file itself when it was created, but you can put a date in the name. Sometimes that can be a wise thing to do. If I change the name on this, it's going to mess up my previewed page. But this is an exact copy of it, but it's called index, so it'll be easier to find. My folder, if I haven't already renamed it, let's rename that now. And I'm just going to name this Project 1. And that will make sense in just a little bit. So I now want to use an FTP program to put this online. And I have fetch here. So fetch, and maybe I'll show you another program too. And I also wanted to show you, it remembers what you did last. Okay. So the host name. So once you do it, if you do the clock thing, it'll pull up what you used last time, so you don't have to type this all in. But the host name is either an IP address or your name of your hosting server. So we have grid3design.com typed in here. And then for the username, this has to be set by whoever does your hosting for specific FTP users, file transfer protocol users. So this username I have here, the username is grid3design, and it has to be at grid3design.com. Okay, because that's the way cPanel hosting works. You have to have the at in the host name. If you had a website hosted that's not cPanel, you wouldn't have this last part. And that's a really confusing change they don't tell you about when they change your hosting to cPanel. And then your password is going to be specific to the the FTP user. So with this part changes, the password's also going to change. And the initial folder, usually leave this blank. I'm going to leave this up just so I can tell you what this one does. So the Grin3 member logins that we do, they are automatically directed to go to this subfolder called members, but you don't see that when you're logging in. So this address right now will go to the members folder of, so it'd be grin3design.com/members/Babcock/Twines/images, and then it'd be in the images folder. But I don't want it to go to the images folder. So let's change this to be a login here that would work. So Grin3 member, and then I would do the password for that. And it has to be, it's case sensitive, so you want to make sure you get, if there's a capital letter, do it capital letter. And I'll make this blank because this FTP login and the password is automatically going to go to the folder that I need, that I have permissions to get to. So I hit OK, and right away it should say getting file list if you did it correctly. So in here I already have a folder with my last name, and I should archive some of these, but I usually keep them up at least a year, so I look at the date of when they were last created or whatever. So if your name is not here, or if you didn't make a folder, don't just put it in someone who happens to have the same last name as you. If someone has the same last name as you, you'd want to do a new name. So let's pretend my name isn't here, or maybe someone else who has my same name but it's not me. So I would do a new folder, and I'll just do -David or D, whatever. All lowercase letters, no spaces. You can do a dash, you can do an underscore. I'll just do a dash here. So I hit OK. So it's going to make a new folder. I double click on this, so I have this empty area. So fetch is a drag and drop thing. So I would take my project 1 folder and drag it into the window, and then it's telling me here that it's uploading all my stuff. So the total amount, some 35.6 megabytes, so it's going to take a little bit of time, not too long. This is part of why it's important to take out your unused files and your PSD files and things, because those are really big and we don't want to waste time loading it. Even if the web page doesn't go there, it still takes up space, and we don't want to do that. So by the time this is done, it will tell me that it's done, and then I can click on this folder and open it and see exactly the same setup. So it's just a matter of transferring our files and folders over here to the other one. And it's almost done. So 31. So it's going through each individual file if you actually read that and see what it's doing. Always 3 seconds remaining. 1 megabyte left. 2 seconds remaining. 1, 0, but it's still doing it. And then the last image it has, it'll list it and it'll say it's complete. So now if I open this, I can see exactly the same thing I had here. So to get to that page that's now live, so on my machine it's going to have this kind of an address. And online we would go to design.com, and then I'm going to type in members. So even though the let's go back. So as far back as this will let me go, it doesn't say members here, but I know that my FTP login allowed me to get there. Then I do my folder name, Babcock-D, okay, and inside of Babcock-D I have a project 1 folder, project 1, and inside of that I have an index file. So technically I would do index.html. But the secret is, and this saves time, is if inside the folder there is a file named index, it'll just automatically go there without having to type it in. So the shorter URL will be this. That's just going to go to the project1 folder and into the folder with the slash. Okay, so I'm going to hit return, and there it is. So this is a live public version of the website that anyone can get to with this URL. So I just typed in grin3design.com. I didn't type in HTTP, but if I select this whole thing and want to copy it, and let's just go to a text document I had open, and if I paste that in, it's going to show it with the HTTP : // so that's kind of the hidden part that it doesn't show you here. It says not secure, and that's because I don't have an S, HTTPS. To get an HTTPS, you have to have your hosting, you have to pay for a secure connection thing, and yeah, there's a few other steps for that, and it costs just a little bit more, but not that much more. But typically you don't need to worry about that if you're not doing e-commerce. And if you have a client, you can ask your hosting company about getting a HTTPS connection for you. But that's another issue for another day. So hopefully that helps you out. You just need to remember to include the members folder in your URL that you're doing. And I'll try to post the FTP user logins and passwords, but not here on YouTube.